15 years since the web went worldwide when a British scientist called Tim Berners-Lee made computer files available which allowed anyone to build their own web pages. And from that moment, the internet exploded as millions and millions of people around the world logged on. Well, in a moment, I'll be talking to technology historian Nico MacDonald and computer expert Professor Wendy Hall. First, though, let's see a short clip of how the BBC heralded the advent of the World Wide Web back in 1991.
45 years ago, there was only one electronic computer in the world. It worked at such a speed that soon confident estimates were made that few of these computers would ever be needed. 6 for the United States, 3 for Britain, oh, and possibly an extra one for Scotland, and 1 for the colonial administration in India.
It's amazing. It really does create a sense of history there. Wendy Hall, I mean, I know that you were aware of this going on 15 years ago. Did you have any sense of what was about to take place?
No, not really. I saw it demonstrated. I saw Tim demonstrate the web in '91, and I thought it looked interesting. And but I didn't imagine that it would take off in the way it has.
Nico, did you have an inkling?
Well, I think the main discussions then were actually about things like CompuServe and America Online, which were the dominant ways people got online, and the computing information exchange. And it became pretty clear that the ease of use of the web actually made a real difference. And in '94, when the first graphical browser was launched, that made the web really easy to use for ordinary people.
There are, of course, many statements made about what an enormous technological revolution this has been to rival the printing press. Wendy Hall, how would you characterise it? What have been the most astonishing aspects for you over the past 15 years?
I think it's the speed, and I agree it was the ease of the use of the browser that made it take off. And actually what's now taking it make off is the availability of broadband in our homes and on our mobile phones, and the fact that you can just use the web everywhere. And it's just the speed, how it's changed everything. It's changed the way we run our lives, really.
And Nico MacDonald, I mean, Wendy there drawing attention to broadband. I mean, these developments coming thick and fast. It's not as if it was a one-off crunch transformation of our lives, is it? It seems to be history on hyperspeed at the moment.
Well, I think yes and no. I think it's very easy to be in the moment and see things as changing very fast. And reality is that, as your clip pointed out, computing is now 60 years old. The internet was first connected in 1969 between 2 connections. So that's 40 years, which is quite a long time. And I think in some ways, actually, we're still rather stuck on email rather than moving on to the web as a way of collaborating and working together. And I think we need to be a bit more sanguine about actually exploiting the power of the web more effectively.
And is that what's going to be the next thing then? Because, of course, for many people, whether they're in business or anything else, I mean, catching the next trend is crucial to survival, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, if British companies to be successful and the British governments to be effective using these things, yes. But actually, I work with a lot of people as well who actually still don't really understand what the value of the web is. For instance, Wendy would have seen Tim Berners-Lee writing a web page at the same time as them being able to read it. Now, with the rise of weblogging and things like wikis, which is a special kind of web page, you can now do that, but most companies aren't using those technologies effectively. So really the web is still a read medium. And I think if you compare it to the printing press, we haven't made that transition to where ordinary people are actually writing as well as reading.
Wendy Hall, is that the next big thing in your view, this kind of interactivity, sense of control and ownership?
I think it is, but the key thing, I think, is doing that on the move. I think one of the main things is the mobile web, the fact that we'll do it on our mobile phones and when we're sitting on the beach, and, it'll be the web everywhere.
Well, let us wait and see. 15 years' time, come back, both of you. Nico MacDonald, Wendy Hall, thanks both very much for joining us.